right before we started filming this, my lovely producers told me that this space is apparently very, very haunted. So I want to thank them for that. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. Me being a person who is naturally very afraid of ghosts. But that's what we're talking about tonight. Ghosts. And you know, ghosts in popular fiction were not always portrayed as these semi-transparent, ethereal beings. That was something that came about in large part thanks to the Phantasmagoria shows. Before then, ghosts were often just portrayed as they looked like people. Real enough, you might say, to cast a shadow. And that's always gotten me to think, on a day-to-day basis, how many ghosts do I just run into? These people that are walking along the street, don't interact with you, don't talk to you, don't even seem to acknowledge you. Those could very well be ghosts. So I think there's a percentage of people every day I see that are just ghosts wandering around. And I really do genuinely believe that. But in fiction, ghosts and haunted houses are some of the scariest story elements you can have. Monsters and aliens and slashers, they can chase you and they can run you down, but a haunted house, it waits for you, and it waits for you to cross over that threshold. My guest host tonight is one of my favorite authors of all time, Stephen Graham Jones. His novel, My Heart is a Chainsaw, is almost like a thesis on the slasher genre. His book, The Buffalo Hunter, just came out recently. It's one of my favorite books of the year. He did another book called The Only Good Indians, which has one of the most chilling beginnings, first quarter of a book I've read in ever. He's a wealth of knowledge about the horror genre, but tonight we're going to talk about haunted houses and ghosts. It's doing it. All right. Okay, so haunted houses. The first thing I've got to know is sort of a do you believe question, but have you ever been in a house that you thought might be haunted?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, man. To tell you the truth, I honestly don't know if I've ever been in a house that I didn't think was haunted, you know? But I guess I do have a few stories. I hadn't even thought about it, but I was renting a house in Little Rock, Arkansas, and the landlord was over one day. And they had like some storage in the house, you know how it works.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that landlord had some of the storage out, was going through old photos, and I was like looking over his shoulder, and he said, "Oh yeah, here's this one," and he showed me this one photo, like a big 8x10 blown up thing, and it was of the front of the house that we were renting, but in a corner was this person who should not have been there, a little girl, and that was my bedroom too, so I didn't love that.
Yeah, I like
But
that.
then another time, this was probably in about 2011, 2010. My wife and I were living out in Superior. It's just east of Boulder here in Colorado. And one night we're lying in bed and we turned off whatever we'd been watching on television. It's probably 11 o'clock at night. And I said to her, "Do you hear that?" And she said, "Yeah." And it was a heartbeat. We could hear a heartbeat really distinctly. And we, went around the room. We finally found that in the wall behind our bed, we could so distinctly hear this really, really distinct heartbeat. And we finally decided we don't know what that is, but it's not hurting us. So we went to sleep.
Had you murdered someone and put them in the floorboards?
No, I hadn't, man. I hadn't. Yeah, but we never figured out what that was. It never happened again. So I don't know, man. But how about you? Have you been in places you thought were haunted?
Well, look, when I was a kid, I thought every old house was haunted.
Yeah.
And we used to my friends and I would go out in the woods, and we lived in an area where you could actually stumble on these deserted
Yeah.
old houses out in the middle of nowhere. So we would explore those houses, and we always thought there were ghosts. It's funny, we always said the ghost would appear. If one of us was ever by ourselves, the other he'd come back, "Oh, I saw a ghost." But I remember going in one, and we didn't see a ghost, but we found a bunch of bones that had been carved,
Hmm.
and they were all laid out on an old rickety table, and there was like an old rusty looking knife on the table, and we ran from that house, and that's probably the scariest
Yeah.
house I've ever been in. Um, and then when I got a little older, I had this antique bed when I first started going to college and living on my own. I had this antique bed, and every night for I don't know how long, I would wake up, and standing at the foot of the bed was this old woman, and she would run up to the bed sometimes. Sometimes she'd just stand there and whisper, and I could swear I was awake, and it could have been a hypnagogic kind of,
Mhm.
half sleep, half dream thing. But I worked with this guy who was a ghost hunter and was a medium and everything. And he came over one night, and I told him about all these terrible, these
Mhm.
visitations. And he walked into the room, and he looked around the bedroom, and he looked at the bed, and he said, "Get rid of that bed and you'll never see her again."
Wow.
And I stopped. I didn't get rid of the bed immediately, but I did stop sleeping in it. And I never saw that ghostly figure again. Now, could that have been the power of suggestion? Maybe, but it was pretty. It seemed pretty ghostly when.
Man. Yeah, no, for sure, and I think that's what matters in the moment, you know? I mean, we can always rationalize stuff and explain stuff away later, but I think that's just us trying to make the world safe. I think in the moment is when it counts, man.
Yeah. So, have you seen besides well, you saw the girl in the window. Did you ever see that girl again?
No, I never did. Never had anything weird at all happen in that house, really.
Wow. All right. I mean,
Yeah.
it troubles the idea of I kind of I think I am a believer because
Mhm.
I don't like to think that this energy just vanishes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like that there might be ghosts around me at all times because they're always watching and judging me. I'm not worried about them scaring me. I'm worried about them judging me, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree, and but I wonder if, like, the ghosts that are around us all the time, whether they have, like, social protocols, you know? Where do they follow us? Where do they stop at a certain doorway and not go in there, you know?
Lord, I hope that's the way. I I did we my wife and I went to Eureka Springs, Arkansas,
Yeah. Yeah, I've
a
been
few
there.
weeks back. And, they got lots of old haunted hotels. And I did ask her. I said, "Have you ever considered that maybe when you're just walking around a crowded street,
Mhm.
10-20% of the people you see but don't interact with, maybe those are just ghosts, and then you just don't realize it." So,
That's what I think too. I think, like, when I come back to my hotel room at a convention or something, it's 2 in the morning, long old hall, I'm halfway down it, and when I look all the way down the hall and I see somebody with their back to me just rounding the corner, then I don't have any way of knowing that's a real person. That could, that I think probably 9 times out of 10 that has been a ghost, you know?
yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say they're not? Um, so let's say ghosts are real and evil, and you have the choice now. I mean, you've written a lot of stories and novels
Mhm.
about a lot of different kinds of horrible creatures. Um, Vampire, werewolf, slasher, or ghost? Which one is the scariest to you, and why?
Probably a slasher because I brought a slasher upon myself. Like, if the slasher's coming for me, it's because I've done someone wrong. I've done something bad, you know? And also that slasher is empowered by the need for justice. And so it's not gonna stop. It doesn't matter if I hit it with a rig, if I shoot it with a deer rifle, it's gonna keep coming for me. With a vampire and a werewolf, there are ways I can kill those, and probably I just stumble into their orbit. They're not coming for me because I killed their pups or their kids or something like that, you know? And as for ghosts actually don't. I mean, ghosts are off-putting. They can make me drop my, like, coffee if I drank coffee, you know? But all that ghosts can really do is tell me something I don't wanna know. They can involve me in their story, but they don't have they're not corporal. They can't, like, pick me up and throw me across the room or anything, and so to me, ghosts are the least scary of all of them. But, you know, as far as pertains to haunted houses, I consider ghosts to just be like, in a haunted house, a ghost is like Lloyd in The Shining. It's just like a finger puppet of the haunting. You know, it's not actually its own entity. I don't feel like.
All right, that's fair. Yeah, I guess I like that what scares you most about a slasher is that what you might have done to really piss them off. Um, so that's a different take on it. Me, ghosts are more terrifying probably, but my vision of ghosts are the ones who will throw me across a room or pick me
Yeah,
up and twist me into a little pretzel or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And I feel like I can't get rid of them. I can't get away from.
No, I totally like, well, like, I wonder if the monsters in It Follows from 2014, if those are a variety of ghosts, because they can twist you into a pretzel, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, who knows what those things are?
I
Uh,
know, yeah. Or
yeah.
the one that is in The Entity, I don't know what that thing is, but it definitely is quite touchy-feely.
Oh, the entity. I mean, it's not on one of them. It's not one that I was going to talk about here in a little bit. That movie really messed me up.
Yeah, yeah.
When I stumbled on that movie by accident, I'm pretty sure I flipped onto it right at the worst scene to ever watch anything,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
what
yeah.
was that?"
I
That was
know,
very
I know.
upsetting for me.
It's like we should, like, keep a little, like, bottle of roofies by the couch for when we're watching stuff, like, just flipping channels. When we see something we're not supposed to see, we just pop a roofie and we
And you're
immediately
out.
forget it,
Yeah,
you know? Yeah, yeah.
that might be the way to go. All
Yeah.
right, so let's talk about some recommendations. So every episode, I kind of we kind of go back and forth and talk about different, whatever movies, books, games, anything related to our topic. So we'll start with you. Do you have a recommendation for us to get us
Yeah, I
started?
think for me, my all-time favorite haunted house story is Burnt Offerings by Robert Marasco, that novel from the early '70s. I forget what year actually, but I did dig my old copy up here. I should have just opened it and looked at the title page. But I love Burnt Offerings. It's a good film as well, but I love the novel more than the film, not because the film is so steeped in, like, long collars and stuff like that, but because Robert Marasco's prose is just so clean and effective, I guess. But I mean, it's a story of a family who rents a place that's too good of a deal to be true, you know? And it turns out that this is a house that wants to use people like kind of like The Shining wants to use Danny almost as a battery, you know?
Yeah, I don't think I guess I haven't read the novel, or if I have, it's been so long ago I don't remember. I remember the movie pretty well, but not the novel. I guess I need to revisit it at this point. It's been a minute.
It's Man, it's really good. I like it a lot, and I wish Robert Marasco would have, kept his hand in horror, but he blipped in for this, and I want to say he did like maybe one more novel. I think he saw himself as a playwright more, and I mean, I say saw himself. I think if you say you're a playwright, you're a playwright. It's not about
Right,
whether I perceive
right.
you as a playwright, you know. But I'm sure his plays are great too. I think he did Child's Play, but not the Chucky one, or something like that.
Very different Child's Play. Um, I think my first one that I'm recommending it's a gimme probably, and I think anyone who knows me knows that this kind of ranks pretty high for me. But and it's probably open to debate. But the 1985 movie House, uh, there's something about that movie that that just speaks to me and speaks to who I am as a fan, as a creator. Uh, Most people, I imagine, are probably pretty familiar with it. You know, Roger Cobb moves into his aunt's or grandmother's house, and it's haunted, and his son is missing, and there's a mystery about what happened to his son. But this thing is haunted with the most bizarre kind of spectral
Hmm.
manifestations, creatures
Yeah.
jumping out of the closet, and you know, demons floating behind the bathroom mirror, and just really bizarre occurrences. But the it's super creepy, but it's also really funny and super
Hmm.
charming, and I really like that about the movie. Uh, and even though, and I'll take a double, quite frankly. Honestly, I'll take a double. It's very reviled, but I love House 2 as well. I think it's that one goes a little crazier with alternate dimensions in the house instead of ghostly happenings. But I love both those movies so much.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, like the good, like, post colon subtitle would be "Never a dull moment," you know?
yeah,
I love
yeah,
that, man. Yeah,
for sure. I saw
yeah.
those movies. I saw the first one like on HBO one night. It it was back to back with Fright Night, and
Oh, nice.
it goes in in my mind, it's cemented as, like, one of the best nights of movie watching of all
Yeah.
time,
Was it the
so
first time for Fright Night as well?
yeah,
Oh,
my first time
wow.
watching both of those. So, it was a great double feature,
Oh, wow.
and I knew nothing about either of those movies going into it, which was
Yeah.
just the perfect way to watch those movies, I think.
Oh, wow. It's like, man, that seeing both those for the first time in the same night can change the course of your life, man.
Yeah, yeah, and I can't remember which one came first now, but yeah, I know they were back to back, and they were something else. I think I was probably 15 or 16 at the time, and what a great night.
Nice, man. I guess my next one is a film. It's I think from 2008, Sauna. Do you know Sauna?
Oh, I don't know sauna.
There's I mean, I think there's actually at least 2 films called Sauna. One of them is about some people who get trapped in a dry sauna for overnight, and are they gonna die from heat, all that. This is not that one. This is, a historical piece. I'm not sure when it's set. I would guess, like, I don't know, late 19th century, maybe early 20th century, maybe along, like, the Russian, I don't know, Switzerland border or something. It's just people moving along, like military people moving along, but there's this little like shed thing, which is the sauna that is just it's less about that it's like a jack in the box that's gonna reach out and grab you, and it's more that it kind of exudes an influence on everything and colors everything and just makes it really, really creepy. Like, um, I'm not super, like, tough. I get scared of things all the time. I get scared of there's, like, a Magnum PI episode that scares me pretty bad, if that means anything, you know? But this novel, like, disturbed me on the level of, like, The Ring or Paranormal Activity. I say this novel, this movie disturbed me on that
Right.
same level, you know?
Alright, I gotta check that out then, I am not
Yeah.
familiar with it. Um, so, my next one is a novel, it's a pretty recent novel. I think a lot of people who are watching this have already read it or it's on their radar, but I feel like I've gotta mention it because it's so well done and it's so good, and that is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. That book I think Grady Hendrix novels are great. I mean, I like most of them. It is not my I can't say it's my favorite Grady Hendrix novel because I have another one that just ranks up there,
Mhm.
We Sold Our Souls, which has a sort of heavy metal influence, is like top, that's my favorite. But How to Sell a Haunted House is creepy as hell, and it's super creepy. It's got this really terrifying antagonist. Yeah, yeah, it has yeah, and I listened to parts of it on audiobook, and the reader was
Mhm.
doing the voice, "Pumpkin,
Oh,
pumpkin,"
wow.
and
Oh, wow.
my wife we listened to it on a trip, part of it. My wife hates it because I do the pumpkin voice. Um, uh, Pumpkin's super creepy. It's bizarre that novel can, uh, it's a haunted house story, but it goes into, puppet theater and sort of the sinister puppet theater. It has a character in it's a sister and a brother, and you hate that brother so much at moments. And then the book at the end, and Grady Hendrix does this a lot for me, has a real emotional punch that kind of hits you right in the gut. And that that book is great. And if you haven't read it, you definitely need to give a chance. If you're watching this, it's so good.
I think my favorite sequence from that book is it's probably in the first 25%. There's that long sequence with squirrels in the house. I love
Oh
that
yeah,
part.
those
That's
those
so much
squirrels
fun.
are terrible. I mean, they're awesome, but that, the book just has a lot of really tense, scary moments, and sometimes with squirrels in the house, it should be absurd. It should be ridiculous, and it's still super, super scary. And I think Grady Hendrix does a lot of that with his book. I mean, he has a lot of that kind of stuff in his books anyway, and he just has a knack for pulling it off. But yeah, that book is awesome.
But you're right, the brother is, we do resist him initially, but I've found that in all of Grady's novels, one thing he does is um he really subscribes to the idea that people should stand by each other, you know? Like in My Best Friend's Exorcism, that Gretchen stands by Abby or Abby stands by Gretchen, one of the 2, when the other one is possessed, and, like, I'm thinking, "I must be a terrible friend because I would've been out of there," you know?
First, first animated squirrel I see, and I'm gone. You're done. You're on your own. See you later.
Yeah, yeah, man, for sure, for sure. My next one is Anne River Siddons, The House Next Door. Do you know that one?
I do
Yeah,
know. one.
It's
Yeah.
so good. I got that one from reading Stephen King's Dance Macabre, actually. He mentions he runs through a few haunted house novels and that, and I had never heard of it. And I think I hadn't heard of it because she's not a horror writer, you know? She does other stuff. But it's just I mean, for people who haven't read this yet, number 1, you should. Number 2, it's just a it instead of there's a lonely old decrepit house on the hill, don't go to that house, and then everybody goes to the house and dies. It's not that kind of story. It's a kind of story about we're breaking ground on a new house, and here comes this new modern architecturally sound thing that doesn't necessarily have workers dying in the framing job or anything like that. You know, it doesn't have a reason really. That it doesn't have a big reason like the Ghostbusters building. It doesn't have a
Yeah.
big reason to be haunted. You know, but like a series of I think 3 families try to live in that house, and the house is devious. It doesn't like, um, the attic doesn't pop open and cut somebody's head off or anything like that. It's a lot subtler and really creepy. And I think that this novel for me is probably the one that most effectively haunts suburbia, you know, because you can't tell from the exterior of this house that it's haunted.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I was trying to think. It might be from that Stephen King book that I had discovered it too, because and I resisted it even then because it's not a Anne Simmons isn't a horror writer, but it was really well done. Now talking about it makes me want to revisit it because it's been a minute at this point. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it's really competent, man. And I want to say it was made into a TV movie or something, but I'm not remembering very well, man.
Um, yeah. No. My third one is a comic. There aren't a lot of haunted house comics that I was trying to think of haunted house comics that are really surprised me or something interesting. But this one is by Dan Waters and Casper Wingard. It's called Homesick Pilots.
Huh? I don't know this.
And Homesick Pilots, they pitched the book in like the solicit text as it's set in the 90s. There's a punk rocker who gets lost in a haunted house. Um, and they pitched the book as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers meets The Shining,
Wow.
which sounds completely stupid, and it works because this haunted house pulls itself apart and animates like a mech and starts wandering around. and and in the visual, in a comics with a visual medium, it's such an interesting way to tell a haunted house story, and that it's actually, this thing is actually lumbering around. I think there's 3 or 4 trades of it out. It came out just, I mean, within the last, well, maybe I'm wrong. Time seems to be messing with me lately, but I think in the last 10 years. But it's pretty crazy. As I was thinking about it though, I realized that Dan Waters did not come up with this mashup of haunted houses and giant robots. And that is because in the 90s, right after the Power Ranger craze kind of blew up, there was a show called Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Huh.
And my
Mhm.
son, when he was little, loved Big Bad Beetleborgs and had all the tropes. It had all the tropes of the Power Rangers, right? But the setup for it. Not to go off on a tangent. What, you're not familiar with Big Bad Beetleborgs? Come on, I thought you knew. I thought you knew your spooky stuff.
Oh no,
Well,
I was watching different Borgs in the '90s, man.
um, the setup was these 3 kids get dared to go in a haunted house, and the haunted house is populated by a werewolf and a mummy and a vampire and a Frankenstein's monster and a ghost that looks like Jay Leno. And this ghost gives them special, grants them a wish, and they wish to be Beetleborgs, which is their favorite comic book characters, and they're like these armored superheroes. But of course, the witch also creates the villains of the Big Bad Beetleborgs come to life as well. Uh, it's stupid and dumb. I love it because my kid loved it so much.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's nice. I didn't know about that. Does the house in Clive Barker's Thief of Oz also get up and walk or not?
That
It's been a
feels like
long
it
time.
would, but it's been so long since I've read it, I
I
don't
know.
remember. And now I'm trying to think. I might be thinking of In the Hills, the City. Like I'm getting it
Yeah,
confused.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I know the house in Brian Asman's, Man, F This House, that house gets up and walks and runs away. Yeah, yeah, and does Monster House, the animated film, I wonder if that house gets up and walk. It's been a long time since I've seen that as well.
that one, it does some horrible thing. It kind of moves around a little bit, but I don't remember it getting up and walking. Maybe it does. I can't remember. But yeah, I guess I like houses that move, and that there's a Lansdale story where a house gets up and lumbers around. I think I might be confused. I can't think of the name of the story. I can't. I could be mixing things up, but I feel like there was a Lansdale story where a house moved around.
That sounds like Joe, though. It sounds like something he would do, man. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Houses there's also like, Bentley Little has that novel, The House, all his stuff is D something, and the house is like a kinda like a in an interdimensional nexus, so the house stays still, but everything moves around it. It's really
Right.
but that novel legitimately scared me, man.
Uh, I think a lot of his books, his a lot of his books really messed me up in some way, because just like I was saying, he has a knack for writing these absurd stories that get really intense, and you can take them very seriously and get messed
Yeah.
up by.
It's kinda like the absurd premise he, like, dangles it out there, and when you finally reach out and grab it, he's like, "Oh, I've got you now,"
Right?
and
Yeah. No.
yeah,
Yeah. He has a gift for that, and I love it.
yeah, yeah. For me next, it's my turn, right? Is it
It's your
me?
turn.
Alright. I would say Douglas Clegg's novel Breeders, um, which is actually, that's the first haunted house novel to ever give me nightmares, I think. I read
All
it
right.
I've only read it once because it actually scared me so much. I don't know when it's from. I would guess it's from the '90s. It feels like it's part of that kind of, I don't know, right at the end of the paperback, or it feels like it's at the end of the paperback mass market thing and the beginning of like leisure horror and all that stuff. It feels like it's from that moment, but I'm not even sure at all. But Clegg, he's just a really really good writer. But this novel, it's got like the gross, the weird sticky visuals, and he's able to stage these kind of like, it feels like a slow jump scare. Like, you realize what you're walking into, that it's getting stickier and stickier, and you know you shouldn't do it, but you think you can make it through without him getting you, and then he gets you, you know? And, it's just really good. I'm not saying the premise of it, not because I don't wanna give it away, but because it's been so long since I read it, I don't remember, and I didn't do my research and look it up. But
Well,
I
that's all
know
right.
that
No,
it's terrifying. That book really got to me. I bet it's still findable too,
I'm
but
sure it is. I mean, I read a bunch of Doug Clegg's books back in the day, but I don't feel like I read that one. But I mean, I've liked everything I've read by him. Um, he was always. I remember going to horror conventions when I was trying to break in way back when, and he was always super nice to me for no reason whatsoever. And he was like, I mean, honestly, it's really the horror writer group as a whole. They were always kind of welcoming, but I remember him in particular. Uh, he was kind of really cool to me way back
he
when.
is. He's like one of the legit. I mean, I've tell you the truth, I've hardly encountered anybody in horror who is not good, but Clegg is just especially good. It seems like, you know. Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of one that you don't really remember the premise of too much, that's my next one. Although, as I think about it, it's still I get a chill thinking about the story, and that is "Pigeons from Hell," the short story by Robert E. Howard. Everybody thinks of Robert E. Howard as the Conan and Solomon Kane guy, and but I remember getting in the late '80s, early '90s, I got this little paperback called it was just titled Cthulhu, and it was all Robert E. Howard horror stories. And Pigeons from Hell, I mean, it absolutely blew me away. It was it's the story of these two guys that are like out hiking or not, or traveling by foot, and they stop in this old deserted plantation mansion, and as they have nightmares and there's ghostly happenings, and then one of the guys goes upstairs and gets his head chopped in two by an axe, and then stumbles back down the stairs with the axe in hand as like this animated corpse, and that's just where it stops or starts, and then it just gets weirder and bigger, and I remembered that I really liked how it started with Robert E. Howard could have just told a story about a guy going up the stairs and coming back down with an axe and as a zombie. But then there's this big history that he delves into, and they go back to the house and they're exploring the house further, and the mystery gets bigger and bigger, and there's zombies and undead creatures and ghosts, and it's just a really great story. Um, the short story is great, and then Joe Lansdale and Nathan Fox did a comic book adaptation
Yeah, I
of it,
remember that.
and I think some show, one of those anthology
Like
shows, did.
Thriller. I think it was
Yeah,
Thriller,
it might have
maybe?
been Thriller. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know they've done an adaptation of it, but that story's great about that old creepy plantation mansion full of ghosts.
No, it definitely is. That's Howard was on it. I mean, I'd say he was on his game then. He was always on his game as far as I can tell, you know?
Yeah, yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, he really wrote several really great horror stories. I mean, I mean, obviously Conan is where that's what everybody remembers him for. But man, some of those other stories are really just awesome.
Oh, yeah, no, no, definitely, and I wanna say I've done a short story that I might have called some version of Pigeons from Hell just to kind of try to pay homage to that story, you know? Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that one. That's a good one, man. Let's see, for me next, I'm gonna say The Haunting of Hill House Mike Flanagan series. I love those episodes, man. He really did a thing there where he, made us aware of the background in a way that the TV audience wasn't really conditioned for, you know? Like, we weren't like, I mean, I came along at a good propitious moment in, like, our viewing lives and everything, but, um in that episode where Nell is just falling through everything,
That's the one.
man.
As soon as you said the title, that's the episode I start thinking of. Is where she's falling through, um, and again, to spoil anything for people who haven't seen it, but it's one of those moments in a show. Flanagan kind of forecasts, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do to you," and then you let it happen, and then when it happens, you're like, "Oh no, oh no!"
No, it's so well done. He just got such a perfectly, like, calibrated touch with all that. His delivery
Yeah,
is spot on, man.
yeah, and really, those kids in that show are so good. As far as actors, those kids are great.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
that they name ghosts the way I feel like kids would name ghosts, and
Yeah,
they're all the more terrifying because of it.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah. No, no, that's just and then it kinda pulls the rug out from under your feet at the end in a way that doesn't erase the story, you know?
right, yeah,
Yeah,
it's so good. It's
yeah,
uh,
it's so good.
it's one my wife loved it,
Mhm,
but and she's not into any of this stuff. She's like, no,
mhm,
no, no, I don't want anything scary. But she loved
mhm,
that show. But she'll never watch it again because
mhm.
it rips your heart right out. And
It does.
all of those shows from that era that he was doing, they all rip your heart out.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bly Manor one, that one
Yeah,
even was even a
yeah,
harder emotional punch, man. Yeah,
yeah. They all get you. But
yeah.
yes, such a good. I mean, it's such a good series. And I think it has a lot of rewatchability because
Mhm.
there's all sorts of there's ghosts that you don't
Yeah,
realize you're seeing, just like we were talking earlier. There are ghosts all over the place
yeah.
in that show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it preserves like Shirley Jackson with her Haunting of Hill House novel, she kind of like codified the haunted house for us. She gave us an Eleanor character, a character who communes, and caretakers who can move among the house's dangers and be safe if they follow the correct protocols. The scientist who just wants to poke and prod, and the Joker who kind of makes fun of all this stupidity, and therefore they become the one who proves its actual existence. You know, it's really, really, really effective, man.
yeah, that's one of the novels I can pinpoint that I had to put it down because it was upsetting. That novel, and it wasn't, I don't even know that there was a scary moment happening as much as tension, and the tension ratcheted up so much for me. I had to put it down for a little while and
Oh, nice,
let my nerves settle before I picked it back up. Uh,
nice. I always read The Haunting of Hill House as I mean, number one, it's an amazing novel. Shirley Jackson is an amazing writer, but I feel like she was having a lot of fun with like the gothic fad. I suspect Haunting of Hill House must have come at the end of like a big glut of gothic novels, you know? And I feel like, yes, she's telling a scary story, but I think the fun for her was, let me make fun of all this other stuff, you know?
Um, well, my last one is sort of a series of movies, and uh, it's the Grudge movies. and, and I don't think all these movies are great, but man, and I don't necessarily like the TV show that came out, but those original movies, those first couple of original movies, I find extremely upsetting. I think I don't like the thing I don't like about the Grudge mythology, or maybe the thing I do like, right?
Mhm.
Is that it's a haunted house, but if you go in it, that's it. It's you can't just leave the house and escape the ghost. It's going to come after you. And the Grudge, I think, really that's the way I think ghosts are. Like if
Mhm.
that's my nightmare ghosts is they really will hurt you in some awful way. And those three, well, it's two main ghosts and the cat's a ghost, I guess. Uh, they are they're very upsetting to me. Uh, it, there's the little boy's super scary.
Mhm.
Kayako, the woman, is with that sound she makes is really terrifying. And it was all I think the first American remake at least was a solid movie, and it had this great element of feeling isolated because it were people, Americans that were moving to Japan and didn't speak the language and didn't know the culture and how isolated they felt. Um, but I like them. I like all those Grudge movies. I will give them a chance no matter what. I will always give the
Yeah.
Grudge a chance. Even I was gonna say even the Grudge versus the Ring movie that came out a
Oh,
few years
nice.
ago.
Nice.
Even that I
Nice.
was like, I gotta check this out at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. I never I haven't watched that one yet, but I know that because of The Grudge, I've never, like, stuck my head up through a attic hatch and not been sure there was gonna be a little boy scuttling at my face, you know?
Well, it's and that's the even if the story's just kind of light, there's something about the visuals of The Grudge. It offsets that. I mean that little boy scuffling. There's a scene where I think it's Kayako. Her head's like low, looking out a door, and slides up very quickly, and it just those kind of things just really they had a real knack for making things just very so surreal that it just
Yeah.
puts you off. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, like, that, like, you can see, like, in Tale of Two Sisters where that woman ghost is crawling across the floor for, like, 3 minutes, and it lasts so long that you think you're gonna crawl out of your skin, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Why are these ghosts so slow? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, The Ring was the same way when she crawls out of the well in the TV. Again, I think we've determined between the two of us, we know that she would never get out of the TV before we're gone. Right? No. I guess, um, right. And speaking of weird happenings, and The Ring's not a haunted house as much as a haunted videotape, right? But my wife and I watched The Ring for the first time, and it was late at night, and my wife was terrified. This movie just absolutely terrified her. And the movie ended, and I kid you not, this had to be midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. My phone starts ringing. And the
Oh,
whole thing with Ring
wow.
is your phone rings right after you watch the Ring, watch the video. My phone starts ringing, and I was like, whoa. So I went and answered it. It was nobody on the end, it was just static. And then I hear a pop, and I look around, and we had one of those sort of a tube TV or whatever. It wasn't a tube TV, but something in the TV blew. The screen was completely just grayed out with a big X, like a black splotch in the middle. I was like, that really was
Whoa.
trouble. It was trouble.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
like in Kentucky Fried Movie, they have the theater where the ushers scare you and stuff. Do you ever
yeah,
see Kentucky? Yeah, it was just always like that, you know?
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. My wife, every time we go to anything that's moderately spooky, my wife will say, "Are they going to jump out and scare us here? They're not going to jump. No one's going to jump out and scare me in this movie, are they? I'm like, we're at the Alamo. No one's going to jump out and scare you."
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Santa Ana. Anyways, yeah, I had something similar happen. I was teaching a horror workshop out at the Stanley Hotel here in Estes Park, and about 11 o'clock at night, we all convened in kind of this big room they have, and we watched the autopsy of Jane Doe together. There's probably like 18 of us total, just kicked back in chairs all over the place, and it's pretty. I mean, I still think that movie's got a lot to scare you with, and especially at The Shining when it's after midnight, And so we finish it, and we turn the lights on, and we're like, whew, like sighing that sigh of relief that we're still alive. We made it through, and we're kind of doing that nervous giggling, like we don't really want to part because we have to walk alone in the hallways. And then there was like two doors over to the side by the corner. They just crash open real fast, and in wheels this long table that was the length of a gurney and skinny, and on that table, I guess there was buffet items or something, and they were all under sheets, and it looked like a body, and there was a guy who was just pushing it from one part of the hotel to the other, and that was absolutely terrifying. He could not have timed that any better.
And then all the people at the workshop were, "Where's Steven? He's gone. What happened to him?"
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah, that was
Um,
terrifying.
so, so what are you working on right now?
I'm writing a novel. And let me see, is that all I'm writing? I think that's all I'm writing right now is a novel. Yeah. No, I'm also working on a screenplay with somebody, but I think we just finished that, so that's like 1 day old now. So it's yeah, doing a novel that I should be done by now. Novels usually take me 10 weeks, and I think this is week 9 right now, but I think I still have about 5 chapters. So this is actually maybe going to take me 3 months to write, which is weird. But and I'll probably finish. I'm going on tour next week, so I hope to finish this novel on tour. I don't know, but I can't say the title yet, and I can't say I can't say anything
All right,
about it. Just that
all
I'm
right.
writing it, and
Just
it
a
may it
team.
may yet blow up and fall apart. That's what I always think they're going to do.
Yeah. So I think I've heard in another interview with you, you said that 10 weeks thing, and I was kind of blown away by that. Um, I just finished recently my first, full length horror novel, and I think it took me a lot longer than 10 weeks.
Oh
To
man,
write. It was
yeah,
brutal for me.
yeah.
Um, but is that a full day? I mean, every day, full day for you, 10 weeks?
No, not. It's generally like today, I think I only worked on it about 70 minutes. And after we get off here, I'll probably work on it 2 more hours. But no, for me, a full day of writing is probably about 3 hours of writing, which is 2 sessions.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, where can people go to find out more about you, more about your work?
Oh, just type my name into any search engine. I should show up. I've got a site. I guess StephenGrahamJones.com will get you there. It's really demontheory.net from back in the days when nobody could get com addresses, so we were all net. I just am kind of nostalgic about that little suffix. I guess that's what it's called. Is that what it's called? And but yeah, I think the only social media I'm on is Blue Sky. I'm sort of on Instagram. A lot of my posts from Blue Sky make it to Instagram via the magic of publishers.
We're all sort of on Instagram at this point.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
I
for
I don't I don't
sure.
know if I get it, but yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
hey, Steven, thanks a lot for coming on and talking about haunted houses with me for a little bit. Um, all the books and shows and movies we talked about, I'll have links to information in the comments. But I really appreciate it, and yeah, I hope we can do this again sometime.
I hope so. This is a ball, man. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, ghost story that never fails to give me the creeps. When I was a kid, my dad used to tell a story about Izzy Izzard, who was looking for a gizzard, and he would tell this story, and he would just keep saying that Izzy had taken a gizzard from someone. I don't know. That's what parents tell their kids stories about. But this ghost was coming up the stairs, and he kept saying, Izzy Izzard, you ate my gizzard, and now I'm going to eat yours. And my dad was telling me the story when I was very little, and it has haunted me all these years. I mean, something about that story just, it both delighted and terrified me. So there's a ghost story that's always scared me. And then tropes that scare me, I always like in movies when the ghost moves in an unnatural way. So, they film it, the ghost walks backwards or is it twisted or crawls upside down across a stairwell or a wall. It's one of the reasons I love the Grudge movies, because that ghost is crawling all over in the most awful ways. And it's there's something about the unnatural element of it that I just really dig. And when you see it, this is something that shouldn't be. It's something that shouldn't exist, and it's awful. If you are really looking for more ghost stories, I have a few more offerings for you. First up is The Unsound from Boom Studios. This is a book I did a few years ago. It's about a young nurse who starts a new job at a haunted insane asylum on the day that a riot breaks out. That's The Unsound. Another story of not a haunted house, but a haunted theater is Lamentation. A young actress joins a production of a play, finds out she cannot leave this haunted theater until the play is completely produced and performed for an unknown audience. And then, same theme. We've got a haunted asylum, a haunted theater. In Deluge, this is my new book from Ignition Press. It is about a prison, a women's prison that's built on a floodplain, and it floods, as tends to happen. And as the flood waters are rising, the inmates are trying to escape. They're being evacuated. There's something comes up in the water, and there's definitely a haunting element. I'm not saying it's haunted by ghosts, but it's definitely haunted by something that the inmates brought in with them. If you want to keep up with my work, I have a weekly newsletter called Nightmare Fuel that you can easily subscribe to on my website, which is cullenbunn.com. I'm on all social media at Cullen Bunn. And if you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends, and I will see you next time.